Hello, my name is Annalisa. I'm putting on my lipstick. I know it's not TikTok. Psychic medium, spiritualist reverend. I hope everybody's doing well. I'm sorry I was not on the last 2 weekends. It was Easter and my mom was in town, so we just decided not to do them. Or I did, not we. It was a singular thing. So we're here doing readings. Blah, blah, blah. Let me get my list. How is everybody? Hi, Ashley. How are you? Sorry. I just was one of my friends' clients was asking, "Where are you? We don't see you." So I've got let me make this list really quick. I've got Rothka for 2. Right now I'm doing this new thing. I don't know if anybody knows this, where if you are subscribed to my website, every Sunday I'll draw somebody randomly from my list of subscribers. I do like a random number generator and then get them. And I'll send you an email. If like the person I sent an email to today, all I had was their email address. I had no first name or last name, so I couldn't, announce it in the little letter. But so if you got a letter and I said you have a free question for today, and there's never a limit. So if you get picked twice, it doesn't matter. Like it's just whoever gets picked gets picked. So I'm just letting you know. Let me put do not disturb on, just so you don't have to listen to pops, bangs, and buzzles and duzzles and all of those things. Okay. All right. Okay, so then I've got Ashley after this. Hi, Lauren. It's been a while indeed. I hope you're well. Rose, I have you for your friend. Margaret. So, and then Margaret, I'm going to answer her question. She paid for 2. She said she might be asleep because she lives somewhere across the pond. I don't know, don't recall exactly. So she might be sleeping, she said, by the time I answer this. So if she's not here, I'm going to answer her question, but she gave one away. So if someone is here and cannot afford a question, maybe if there's a new person here or something, we can give a question, or I don't know, we'll figure out something to do with it. Okie dokie. All right. And then I've got Kristen. So here's our list so far. Ashley, Rose. Okay. So I am doing well. Let's see what's been going on. Oh, so we went to Legoland. I'm going to tell you the story because whatever. It's autistic acceptance month. My one daughter is autistic. I suspect another one might be, but we never know. I'll end up getting her evaluated at a point. And I think people don't really understand what autism is or what it looks like and all of that. So my oldest daughter is not cognitively delayed at all. It's more like a social executive function kind of stuff, sensory issues. But we went to Legoland and because the last time we went, it was a great trip. We had ended up paying extra for the lightning passes where you don't have to wait in line. You just go, it's like there's a speed line. But I tried the accommodation passes where they have accessibility. And so basically all it does is like give you, like you still have to wait, but you just don't have to wait in that line. So you put it on the app and then they're like, oh, it's an hour and a half wait, or it's an hour wait to your next ride. But so like, since my daughter's not cognitively delayed, she's still very well aware that we're waiting. And so she's like, it was a disaster. We rode 2 rides. We had lunch, rode 2 rides, and went home. It was hot. So that was a ding. And then none of their water fountains worked except for one throughout the park. And they have like these really great refilling stations. And only one worked. And then they were like, oh, we're autism friendly. We have these great places you could go and rest, but they're like on opposite ends of the park. So if you're in the middle and they're melting down. So she just got really frustrated and she was like, I'm done. And she just like sat down. And I'd been offering her, and there's not a lot of benches under shade. Like they really didn't design this park well. So they have all these great benches, but there's not like little shade covers or anything for them. So like the few benches that are in the shade are definitely packed. And so she was just like, I'm done. And then one of their like police, they're not really police or security, but whatever. They were like, oh, I was like, well, she's autistic. We're having a meltdown. And he's like, oh, she could go to this place, but it's near the entrance. And I'm like, yeah, we're like, this is where we're at. Like, we're not going anywhere. So, lesson learned. And I told her, I was like, I'm so sorry. I didn't know. We'll pay extra from now on out. I'm very, very sorry. I don't know. I think they need to rethink their accommodations for certain situations, because I think people don't really realize like autism does not mean cognitively delayed. In fact, in most cases, it's not the issue. So anyway, I hope everybody's well. Happy autism acceptance. Okay, so let's go. I think Radka, you sent me your stuff. First question is a general reading. The second question is about your, okay. Okay, so could you do me a favor and give me the first name of your father-in-law? If you wouldn't mind, even if you happen to have a picture, you could text me. That'd be amazing. So I can read it a little bit, make sure I'm getting that right. Oh, you're pulling over? Oh, geez. Sorry. Johan. Okay. I don't know why I'm writing that there. Okay. I might start with that instead of the general. Sorry. Just what happens when you send me one, I get pulled to one over. If you send me 2 questions, I might get pulled to one to do that first over the other. Hi, Jeffrey dear. How are you? I miss all of you too. I miss doing these, and I'm going to be out of town next weekend, but I may do readings from where I'm at. I will send out an email, I promise. I haven't been good about sending out emails, and I apologize. But I will send out an email. Meg kept messaging me. She's like, where are your emails? Sorry. I didn't know they were important. I'm sorry. I will make them important. So just thinking of his name and sort of trying to connect him with the energy that way. Tight pants. Hold on. I do feel like he has a bit of nausea. Like my stomach just feels off. And I also feel like having headaches. Which one is he in? Oh, far left. Okay. Let me separate everybody away from it. Okay. Yeah, I get the nausea stuff. Do you know if he's got a lot of like I feel like he regurgitates a lot. Like I also feel more restless. Like you're saying age-related stuff, but I'm feeling more like almost like a feeling of sundowners, like where I get more restless and agitated in the evening. And he's getting like interesting headaches, like almost like what they call ice pick headaches. He's very disabled, so hard to have a sense of where he's at sometimes. There's something he eats, like it might be like something where it's like he eats like pretty much the same thing all the time, and there's something that is bothering him now. And they may have I keep feeling this idea of like they changed the formula or something, and that's part of the distress. And you did say that he got agitated, but I feel like he's getting like there's a sundowners type thing. So it's the same time every day. Um it's not an all the time thing. Like it's very cyclical. And it's also a feeling of like maybe his serotonin or something like that is off. Like there's a hormonal imbalance that's creating this. I think a lot of his agitation is coming from an upset stomach. Because I just, it's just constant feeling like my stomach is just sour and upset. I also get the feeling of needing to look at, this sounds really strange, but his toes. Because I feel like there might be like little blisters or wearing on his toes from maybe his toes curl a little bit in his shoe. And maybe he might need some like little moleskin or something to prevent the rubbing that he gets, or maybe an orthotic that would help lift his metatarsals so they kind of come up a little bit. Like maybe he's a little prone to like foot drop in his gait. So he kind of maybe like drags his foot a little bit or shuffles his feet when he walks. Or it might like cause this like rubbing of some way on his toes. It just there's also just a feeling of like having my hormones are off. Like so there's maybe testosterone is dropped just too much. Just like everything just feels a little bit off. And I'm wondering if it's not always about like, when you think of testosterone, like, oh, you'd have a low sex drive because like that's not the goal here, right? But it just feels like that's swinging his mood in a weird way. And unfortunately, I don't feel like it's where his doctors go to when they think about treating him because of his head injury stuff. He definitely shuffles his feet. Okay. I don't think that these are things that they think about, right? I don't think that that's their plan of action, that they're looking at, well, he's this way because of this, and that. Like and the head injury and then the aging and all of that. And I don't think they're looking at that it might be actually a hormonal thing that needs to be addressed. And maybe the stomach thing is maybe a little bit of an ulcer or something, like a H. pylori thing. I also feel quite a bit of postnasal drip with him. So that's like not helping. I think this is so if they've complained about him having bad breath, it's the stomach stuff is actually what's causing that. It's not a tooth issue. Hi, McKeegan. Happy belated spring to you. Um, that is, I feel like what's contributing. So it's like, I feel like if we got the stomach stuff under control and maybe some of like looking at his hormonal stuff, he would feel better. Um, so I feel like he's very well aware of what's going on. So there's like, there's forms of aphasia. I feel like I don't think he has aphasia per se, but it's like expressing himself is harder. But I feel like he understands how he feels. He just doesn't know how to communicate it. Right. It's like when you have a child and they just say, like, my kids will go, I just feel ich. And I'm like, well, where? I don't know. I just don't feel right. It's like they don't know how he doesn't know how to pinpoint exactly. So like in his mind, he knows this is my stomach that's hurting, but the words aren't coming out. Like how to explain this. Okay, so let's do a general reading now. So I just get this feeling that like they're saying like basically you're on the right track to doing what you're doing. Um I think that you're supposed to go back over to be with your wife, but I feel like you may be like it's almost this feeling of like opening up a shuttered cabin before you go back. So like opening up, it's like this feeling of walking in and opening up the shades and the curtains and getting the dust out and sort of getting everything settled before you go back. And also as far as your business and your work, I still feel like there's this need to like remove the protective shell that you often wear because you have the qualifications, right? You are the thing I struggled with doing a lot of the work I do is like I feel like, oh, I need to have some kind of certification or people like those or you know, people will automatically dismiss you if you don't have that because they'll say, oh, you're not smart enough, right? But you have all of that. So the only thing holding you back is yourself. Um, and a lot of that comes from the childhood stuff, right? From the stuff of like self-protective way of, you know, not even being, you know, they see it like, you know, you want to be seen but not heard kind of thing as a kid. I feel like even just trying to slink into the walls to like camouflage yourself so that you're not even seen or heard, like just to be as invisible as possible as a safety mechanism. And like this is one of those things where it was a necessary and much needed coping skill as a child, but it's like, okay, now it's hindering you, right? It's like that idea where there was a woman, and I wish to God I could think of her name, but she was talking about generational slave trauma and this idea that like if you took a white woman and a black woman and the child in the same grade, they both had boys in the same grade, and a teacher came up and complimented both of them about how great their sons were and how wonderful they were doing, the white woman would be like, oh my God, he's the best, he's amazing, blah, 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 blah. And the black woman would say, the black mother would say, oh, but he gives me such a hard time at home. And then you'll hear within the black communities, like, don't, you know, you never tell somebody you're 100%. And where that comes from, so this woman was saying is because in the time of slavery, if a master came over and said, like, you have a strong boy, he, you know, he works really hard. If they said, oh, he's so amazing, you're right, they would sell him. They risked having their family member and loved ones sold. So as a protective measure, right? It was like, oh, he's not enough. Like you knock him back a little bit so that you keep the family unit together, right? So it was this safety. It was done for safety, but then as it's passed along through the generations, it becomes harmful, right? Because now it tells somebody when we don't worry about that sort of slavery, even though if you really look at the world and all of that stuff from a different twisted way, it's sort of still exists. We don't worry about that, but like but now that's the trauma of like never being enough, right? And then you just said, I'm very triggered. Sometimes I worry, I set people off and all not sure why. Okay. So some of that also is neurodivergence. The ADHD brain is, and the autistic brain are We're so hyper aware because we struggle so much, and you see all of the subtle nuances and changes, and that's a very normal response to that too, right? It's funny because knowing you, I think, like, how would you set anybody off? Like, I know you um always speak so gently and so, like, with such thoughtfulness. I can't imagine you ever upsetting anybody. Like, even some of the bonehead things I say, like, or questions I have around, learning about racism and learning about and trying to understand things, like, you're always so patient and respectful. I cannot imagine you sending anybody off. I find that interesting from my perspective that you would feel that way. But I understand it also because when I do social things, I always end up feeling like my friend had her 50th birthday party last night, and she's like, "I had such a great time," and I'm like, "God, did I upset?" Like, I'm ruminating of like, I probably upset somebody. I'm certain I talked too much at a point. I'm certain like, I, you know, um, I did do her dishes for her with another woman, Tiffany. um, I'm the cleaner upper friend where I'm like, oh, like, I don't want her to have to do this. It's her birthday, like, so I'll help clean up and let's get it all together before it starts to thunderstorm. I don't know. You're fine. You're not upsetting anybody. You're trying so hard to like save yourself and protect yourself from the trauma that you went through. You need to not worry about that. It's time to be okay. You have all of this wonderful knowledge and such a beautiful, calm way of sharing it. Please don't not. You texted something, and yes, okay. I agree with you on the comment of what you think it is. Again, that was a protective thing. Um, so big hugs. Okay. Okay. Let's move on. Um, and Kristen, welcome. Hello. If I didn't say hello to you. So, Ashley, you asked about, I read your question earlier and you were asking about France. Ashley is working over in France and wants to stay working there. Oh, geez, Louise. Okay. So I do feel like you will stay on there at that school. I do feel like they'll extend you a long-term contract. And I heard 3, so I don't know if it's 3 years, but I don't know if they would do it that long, but I heard 3. Like, and it was that feeling of being 3 years. I understand the, oh my God, like, in the sense that I did do contract nursing. I was a travel nurse, and it sort of was like, if I wanted to stay, so like I don't know how many months it was, we had to like either go travel somewhere else, do a job somewhere else, or like take 45 days off for tax purposes. But there was times where I was like, I remember I ended up actually having to find my next job. So I was at the end of one contract. I had 2 weeks left of that contract. They still didn't let me know if I like had it. My grandmother passed away in that time, and I was like, I can't go to your funeral because I don't know if I have a job, so I don't know if I can spend this money I have. Hold on. How may I help you? I love you too. A small one because we've had a couple today. Yeah. All right. I love you. See you later, alligator.
Can we give you a hug?
No. Only because I don't want you on camera. No.
I want on camera.
Okay. Hurry. Watch the cord. Step. You just told me you wouldn't go on camera. Go on. Turkey.
Was just hard to.
It was hard to look at yourself.
No, it was just hard to not keep your hand there.
Oh, okay. I love you.
I love you too.
All right, go on. Your boss stresses you out. I think he stresses himself out. Okay, so my point was is like I get it. I get where you're at. I wanted you to not feel like, oh my God. I always ask her this. I just like I get where you're at. It is very stressful. So do they offer 3-year contracts? He feels really like a type A personality, like might maybe have like bordering on having a little bit of OCD. Um, so I think that that's where some of that comes from. Do they offer 3-year contracts? I don't know. I think it's just a permanent contract. Okay. So there's something about 3. I don't, and it felt like time wise, right? So it didn't feel like 3 months. It felt like having to do with the contract, right? So not a time frame of when you'll sign it or what that. It just feels like having to do with the contract. So maybe he offers it like a 3-year extension, or there's something like that. But I do feel like he'll offer it to you. It's like a micromanagey feeling I get around him, not like just like it has to be just so. You know, it doesn't feel like I'm trying to think of like the feeling. I just like he gets like I don't know if he's like a curmudgeon. Just it's this like feeling of not overly chatty. He almost feels like the way a stereotypical Brit feels. Okay. Well, there's something about 3, so I don't know if it felt like 3 years. So I don't know what that means. I don't think you'll have to be, I think you'll get something permanent where you're not having to um, constantly renew like this. Um, it's interesting because I feel like he's almost in a way surprised because you said people other want to leave. Like I feel like things rotate around a bit. So, but I've worked in not great nursing jobs as a traveler because I wanted to stay in New York City. Um, where other travel nurses were like, how do you stay here so long? And I was like, oh, I float. I will never work on one specific unit because um I don't want to deal with the drama, and I just want to like come in and do my job, and like I don't want to be a part of any of that. um I was saying to somebody last night, I was like, I never wanted, I just wanted to be a bedside nurse. I had zero desire to be in charge of anybody. I don't want to deal with call outs, people not showing up. Okay. I do feel like he's keeping you. I just feel like he's just not a warm and friendly guy. It just feels like a curmudgeon-y, stereotypical Brit feeling, even though you're in France. That's the feeling I get. Um, like I keep seeing like an old man in a brown suit, even though I don't think that that's what he looks like. It's just the feeling like I get around his personality. Um, I know it's weird, but I guess I had like a weird attitude about working. I know I don't. That's why I said I don't think he's old. But that's the feeling I get around him. Like I did not feel like he was an old person, but that's what they keep showing me is like personality wise. He just feels like this curmudgeon old man wearing brown suits. Like that's his personality. You will be fine working there. Don't worry. Oh, you'll be fine though. I feel like he has minor criticisms about stuff, but it's like nothing. It's kind of like, um, nothing worth worrying about. Like there's no like, I can't keep you, you're terrible. It'd be like it again, it's like nitpicky things. Like, and I feel like it's because he feels like he can't give you 100% and say you're amazing. Like it's just this attitude of like, there's always room for correction. Mm. I keep seeing like a blonde woman. So I don't know if this is someone that's already there, one of these people, or if it's somebody coming in. And she feels a little bit shorter. So, maybe 5'3". So I feel like you'll have an ally there. You are not going to be all on your own the way you feel like you are. There's two blondes. One is his wife. I'm talking about as being friendly with you. Sure, Julie, I do. I need to add Deborah to the list and Nicole. Okay. All right, Rose, you asked about your friend. Hang on, let me look at Monica. Losing her job and if she would get a new job soon. I'm getting the outside, so I'm getting like 3, but so if you were to see printing on a piece of paper, I see the 3 months bolded, but I also see like kind of in a lighter hue, I'm seeing 4 months. So I feel like it'd be on the outside of 3 months. So it might be that she starts the interview process then and then starts working in 4 months. And yes, it's in the same field. It might be like, so the way they're showing me is like a step down and over. So it might not be in the exact same area she was working in. It might be like something that'd be parallel and similar, but a different product or something. And so she's stepping down a little bit to get training and work. So, but there's more room for growth that way for her. I keep hearing like around that other company. So I was like, what happened? It's like there's a discontinuance of something they were making. But I also hear like a 3-ring circus. So it just feels like a lot of weird shuffling of things. And I don't know if that's to avoid like a financial scandal, whatever that means. But it feels like a blessing in disguise for her. Okay. I don't know if you're here, Rose, and you heard that. Oh, you're here. Okay, great. Okay, great. Thank you. Oh yeah, Ashley, let me know if that 3 years makes sense. I really appreciate you. So thank you, Rose. Okay. All right. So now we're at Margaret. Margaret's asleep. So I'm just gonna, I don't know, maybe she's here. Margaret, are you here? Um, let me see if there is any. Okay. So Margaret asked about, hang on, let me look at this again. All right. So she said, will my project to teach Yazidi women in Kurdistan have a viable possibility? And do I have any advice? So, Rose, I don't know if you're having headaches right now, or not Rose, Margaret, if you're, I don't know if you're here, you might be sleeping. But I'm feeling like a little bit of a headache. I don't feel like, it feels like maybe in 6 months, it feels like, right now there's, it's like the logistics around safety and etiquette. So, and by etiquette, I mean like the way that you have to, the steps and the red tape you have to go through in order to get this on board. I don't know anything about this area. I'm not really good about the geopolitics of, I'd have to really research it, but it's a feeling of instability there. Um, and a lot of skepticism around outsiders and help. And so it feels like it takes time to build the relationships that will help you actually implement this. And that might be what the 6 months is about. And the advice I have is feeling like building relationships with people who have already been in there doing the work in order to build the trust, in order to build the connections in that area that will open the doors for you. Okay. All right. Kristen, what was your question? Okay. So immediately when I read your question, so she said, this is just in case anybody's watching this and doesn't have the chat on. Do my guides have any insight into the house we will end up buying? For instance, how will we find the house and what it looks like? And the market is so difficult. So like the very first thing, like manifesting wise, is the market's not difficult. And I'm going to give you an example of why I say stop saying that. Stop, get that out of your head. When my daughter was my oldest was in preschool, she was at one preschool and they put her in a class. They didn't put her in with any of her friends. Like she had little boys as friends. And I was like, well, those are her friends. And they're like, they said, well, she has to have little girlfriends. And I'm like, I let her have little boyfriends. Who cares? Like those are her friends. So I was sort of furious and I pulled her out because they refused to move her into a classroom with a couple of her friends. And I pulled her out and it was like Labor Day weekend. No, yes, because that's what's in September. And everybody's like, oh my God, are you going to be able to find preschool for her? It's like so late, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, someone's going to take my money. Like I never had this like belief system around what somebody else was telling me about their reality and about how hard it is and how difficult it is. So yes, other people are going to say the market is difficult right now, but the truth is your house will come up at the perfect time and it will not be difficult when it happens. So if you just have the idea of like, my house is here, I'm not worried about it, it's coming out, it sort of eases the energy. And I know that's really like flaky, hooly-booly type, whatever thoughts, but that's the truth of it. Like sitting and worrying about it and going, oh my God, this is the worst thing ever, does not ease the process. So if you just trust, like, my house is there, it's happening, it's coming. And I bet Meg will reinforce this to you. It's just sort of like, it doesn't matter what the market situation is, it'll be fine when it happens, right? There's no need for that. It might be closer to June that you're like in June, maybe July, that you actually start the process of like, you've put the offer in, it's the house you want. And I keep seeing like a dark brown house. It's 2-story, or at least it has like a 2-story. Like I can't see the full house the way I could with the other one. I just keep seeing like this part of it that's like a darker brown and like 2 stories tall. And it's like around the entrance on the outside. So maybe it's like a dark brown there, and then like there's some kind of brickwork somewhere, like lighter brickwork. And there's pine trees. Either like in front of the house, like in not just in the yard, but like near the front of the house, or like I just keep seeing like pine trees close to the house. Because there's like, I'm really seeing the pine, like the needles from the branches. It needs a bit of updating, is the feeling I get. Not that you're going to have to do that, but meaning it's a little bit more dated in its look. I think since the invention of social media, it's like everybody feels like this pressure to have some sort of like really super updated house with all the like best, latest whatever. And like, there's a lot of us with older homes that like, they're not up to date. I have wood paneling in my basement. Mostly because when I did take some of it off, I found like holes in the drywall, and I was like, God dang it. And then I had to we had to rip the drywall out, and then we had to like reframe part of that. I was like, I'm going to leave this on and pretend that there's nothing wrong behind those walls for now. Because ignorance is bliss sometimes. Our house could probably be like a lot. Yeah. So, can you text Meg a picture to text me of the house you're currently renting? Just the outside, and I can tell you if it is. I don't think it is, but sorry. I have like a need to like, I think it's like an oral fixation of like having like a little piece of candy or gum or something in my mouth. And it's probably really annoying on your end, and it would probably annoy me if I was watching it, but there's something about a hummingbird. So it feels like somehow a hummingbird is your symbol around this house. So am I going to get a text? I have it on Do Not Disturb, but yes. Thank you. It's not the home you're in now. Nope. Because this is a ranch. And I saw a very much a 2-story, very tall entryway. I mean, wouldn't it be wonderful? Then you wouldn't have to move because, God, that sucks. Moving sucks. It's just so much work. Even if you're super rich and have somebody pack your entire house, it's still a lot of work. I don't know. Maybe it wouldn't be. Have somebody come and like declutter and pack your house, right? Okay. That's the kind of rich I want. Have somebody come and just pack it all for me. I probably would still be annoying. Be like, not that. I'll pack that. Okay. Devery and Nicole. Julie, I did not get a payment for you unless you were the person who had the address that I sent the thing to that won a question here. You're very welcome, Kristen. Thank you for trusting me. I've been applying for a while now, even humbled myself to apply for jobs at $13 an hour until I fell through. I heard from one of these jobs at the end of this month. I don't know that it's the end of this month, but I see May 5th as a date. Meg, what's the second? Oh, why did you? I'm confused. What was the second picture you sent me, Meg? Sorry, I was just confused. Okay. Nicole, are you here? Do you want to? What? She didn't end up sending. Wait, what? I have a picture of a house. Oh, you said oops. Oh, yeah. I thought that was a picture of the rental. But I got a different picture of like a screenshot of a FaceTime. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, so Deborah, I feel like around May 5th might be when. So it's not too much further out, but I know that that can be really stressful. You didn't send button at first, so I didn't this time the right way. Oh, okay. No worries, Julie. Nicole, are you here? Do you have a question? Nicole. You just forget to show up. All right. Perry, since Margaret donated a reading, you're here. Okay, ask your question. Perry, if you're still here, hang out because Margaret donated a reading. So no worries. What's your question? Love. Okay. So I feel like someone's coming in the summertime, and I say that because I keep seeing like a waterfall. I feel like I'm on the water. I'm on like a lake or something, and I see kind of like water coming down off of. It's not quite a waterfall. I don't understand it exactly, but it's like water coming down from above. And I feel like I'm on like either a lake or something like that. The water's a little calmer, so you might be in a bay. And I feel like that's when it's coming in. And it feels like he may be coming out of a relationship himself. His name may be something like Will. And I got it in a weird way because I saw Matt Damon and it just this feeling of like Goodwill Hunting, like that. So Will feels like the name might be. It's not somebody you meet online. It's through other people or through circumstances. It's not a, someone new, it feels like. Why? How are things with Dave? Is he still around? Is he still a contender in your heart? Put another piece of candy in. Sorry. Oh, on Stefano. I don't know. Okay. I forgot about Stefano. Sorry. I feel like he's nice enough, but I feel like what are your feelings on Stefano? What does your intuition tell you? Should I be throwing that back at you? If there's a tag in the shirt. There. Sweet baby Jesus. Hi, Allie. Sure. So, tell me about your Stefano. I don't feel like he's lighting the fire for you, if I can be honest. And I mean the fire in the bedroom. Not the fire in your heart. I don't feel like he's doing it there either. So I'm staying at my friend's house next weekend. And I'm going to be she's going to be out of town until like the last night that I'm there. So I'm watching her dog, and she said he's 15 years old. And so he's kind of like an old man, like where he's just like kind of grumpy. You know how old people, when they get older, they just like fart and they don't care, she said. She's like, so I was like, okay, no problem. Because I was like asking about his walks, and I even said to her, I was like, do you want me to send something that smells like me so I don't seem like a stranger when I come in? Like you prepare for, baby coming with your dog, you bring them something that smells like the baby. So I'm kind of excited to see this old crotchety dog. Okay, so I thought it was a good match. Has sweet, smart, and interesting to me, but things are moving super slow, so definitely not too much fire. Okay, kind of backs out sometimes. I don't think it's because he's an F boy. I just think it's he's somebody, has he told you he likes a lot of alone time? Like he may have he may also have some neurodivergence, my friend. I just feel like it's not you, it's him. Like I said, he's nice enough. I just don't feel like there's like the kind of effect to him. It just feels like, And who knows? Maybe he puts on a Superman cape this summer and becomes like this sexy fantasy man. I need to clean my screen here. Oh, let's see. Okay. That's my feeling. That is just a rough name, by the way. Listen, you keep seeing him if you're enjoying your time with him, and you do that. Like, don't, you don't always have to go with me. I think that you have a really good intuition and a really good sense of red flags. Do I think you ignore them? Sure. Did I ignore red flags? Absolutely, when I was dating. Should I ignore red flags about friendships? I don't know. I always see the potential in people, right? So I just think sometimes it's not about the end goal, right? In fact, more often than not, it's not about the end goal. It's the learning through the process. So maybe there's a reason to date him for a little bit and just see how it is, taking it slow and not having this chaotic romantic burn of a relationship, and see where it goes. But I just don't know that there's a real attraction. Not from him to you, from you to him. Okay. Who's that? What do you want?
Are you done?
I have three more questions to do. What do you need? What's hurting you? Get out of here. Get out of here.
I just want you to be done.
I'm almost done. Can you give me about 15 more minutes?
Why does it have to be super long?
Because that is the way life is. And the longer you keep me from doing it, the longer it takes me, right? I'll be upstairs soon. Look at this. Daddy went to Costco. Look at this picture he sent me. It was the longest line ever.
Nice.
This is like the back of the store, and the registers are all the way up there. Like, this is the back of the store and wrapped around.
What?
I know, crazy. Get out of here. Get out of here.
Okay.
I love you. Oh, no, don't. That gives me a headache. Please don't. Please don't. Please don't. Thank you so much. If it's
Why
really
is it facing there?
because I don't want it in my eyes because my head hurts.
I can turn it around.
No, I don't want you to. I
Mhm.
don't want it in my eyes. Can you please let me be? I love you so much.
What is it little face for?
That's like tightens things so that it stays where it's at. And there's different movable parts. Same thing, just leave it there. Don't touch it. All right. Please and thank you. Could you leave? April?
It could be. What are you doing?
They did. So if you saw a picture of me at her age and at like 3, she looks exactly like I did. In fact, when I was at my mom's, they said that you look like my twin. When I was at my mom has my mom has a whole bunch of pictures, of course, from my sisters and I when we were little, and
Can
I was like pictures looking at me. Literally felt like I was looking at my youngest.
Can I see
There's nothing to see.
of the picture?
I'll have to call Nini and have her show you them because I don't have them. I can call Nini when I get off of here. Okay. Please, Lovey, would you go?
No.
Please. You can have one more treat. Here.
No, thank you.
Okay, please go.
Can I have some chips?
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
We're all about the health food.
Mm-hmm.
Close the door, please. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, it's like when I look at pictures of me when I was little, and especially at the time I was at my mom's, like the pictures that were there were, I was around the same age as April was at the time, and I was like, I feel like I'm looking at April. Nothing.
Why do you need this downstairs?
Because it's where all my craft stuff is. Okay, go on. Love you, Buggy.
Love you too. Bye.
Bye. Hugs and kisses and hugs.
No. I love you.
Hey, your huggy. Bye.
Love you.
Love you too. Oh, you know what it is? It becomes a sensory thing too, like where I can feel it. It's like wet. So I'm trying to, it takes forever to dry my hair. So some of it is like to make sure it doesn't dry flat. And, whatever. It's also a weird habit. Sorry if it bothers you. Okay. So I had 3 left, I think. Hang on, let me see. Julie, Allie, and then Perry, if you're still here, I'll give you that free one. Okay. Julie, why don't you, let me find your question, Allie, and then Perry. I'll give you Margaret's question that she asked. She paid for and donated. Julie, I'm just looking for your question. Probably should just smack on some gum while I'm here talking to you. Just super annoying and rude, right? There you are. Do you have time for one? There you are. What do my guides say about my purpose is with writing, and should I continue? Okay. So, with the purpose of writing, I heard to tell your story from a whole new direction. So it feels like even though you're writing, like, so it's like even though I feel like you're writing about your life in a way, but it's going to be written in a fictional way of like if it would have happened better, or it's not quite exactly as it happened, right? So as a way to they're showing me to heal your timelines and to do some, like, it's for catharsis for you, but it's fictional, right? So it also brings in the reader, and it's like it's entertaining for them, but it feels like it's about healing your timeline is the best way I can put it. And it's interesting because as I was saying that, I feel like I'm in like a little boat or canoe or something like that, and around like wetlands, and you know how in Louisiana, there's like the trees that grow in the water in the bayou, however you want to say it. Um, it there feels like a setting of that. I don't know what that means either. So I don't know if you can validate any of that. And I got yes immediately, by the way, of should you continue to write. Um, I also feel like it's really important for you to write every day. Just take 10 minutes, and it's just like free flow writing, not um, with a purpose. And that will help your creativity and help ideas come out that way. So it's like no judgment about what you write or write. It's just writing, and it feels like that breaks the wall down of that block that you're having right now. So like when I do this, that's a sensory thing because I can feel it heavy on my neck and it's annoying me, or it's pulling weird. Like now it's like weird here. I don't know if that resonates. If you can tell me, Julie. And then Allie, if you want to ask your question. It's not fictional, but it is healing. So there may be an aspect of it where then you branch off to where you're writing something different that is fictional, but coming from a space of changing the perspective. Or maybe when you're writing it, maybe it's not fictional, but it's like it's a different perspective of it. So seeing yourself from a different perspective, I'm not sure. There's something different about it where it changes your timelines in a way. And does the connection to like Louisiana or like the bayou type thing make sense in any way? Allie wanted some clarity. A lot of the readings you've done for me are about my future partner. Stuff fits the description. He's doing programming. He's into cooking and health conscious, and maybe do need to do it every day. I love it. Okay, perfect. They're not going to tell me if it's him or not. And I know this sounds weird, but it's important for you. So I'm going to make you ask a different question. It's important for you, Allie. That's exactly what you needed to hear. Okay, perfect. We get in our way so much. This isn't for Allie. This is just in general. We get in our way so much of our own spectacular, wonderful energy because we're so worried and judging it all the time and how it's going to be received and all of that. And not everybody's going to receive you well, and that doesn't really matter. I'm glad it makes sense. Okay, Allie. So I don't know that this is psychic, but I do know that they're not giving me that it's going to be him or not, because you're so goal focused of being with someone. And I heard this really great, I think it was Michelle Obama that said it. And and she was talking about like, you know, young people today, and this isn't just today, this has just been this way, right? People want relationships and they think that somehow that's going to fulfill them or complete them or validate who they are, right? And this idea of love is and relationships are sort of romanticized in so many different ways, and there's so many different aspects of even our society that talks about your value and your worth, and like, you know, you're an old spinster if you're, and it's not talked about this way as much anymore. It's starting to be more accepted of women remaining single and, you know, they're whole and complete, but like it's this like, oh, you're going to miss out if you don't have kids, or you're not going to be fulfilled and whole and complete and all of that stuff. And when we focus on like that, like the goal constantly, we miss all of the stuff in between. And maybe it is him, right? Maybe he is the one, but like if you walk in knowing he's the one, it comes with a different energy in a way, or like, and it puts a pressure that's an unfair pressure to developing that relationship. So if you walk in with like, okay, well, it could be, let's see if he lives up to my needs, wants, desires, and boundaries, right? Let's see if he's got the stuff. Let's see if he's more than just bare minimum. I often think like, so I had dreams, um, and I'd had readings and things like that too, um, and got signs and all kinds of stuff before I met my husband. But the thing I did differently with him than I did with anybody else is I stopped asking, was he the one? And it wasn't like, oh my God, I just knew. It wasn't that at all. I was just like, I'm just going to try and enjoy this and see where it goes and not worry and put the pressure on of like, is this it? Because the truth is even when, and this is sort of what Michelle Obama was saying, is like you get married and then like you're planning so much on the day and the dress and all of that stuff. And like you have an idea of what marriage is in your head. And the fact of the matter is that like that's just the beginning. And it's a lot of work. And sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't. She was like, oh, you know, if I have 20 good years and 10 bad ones, I'll take the 20, or like something like basically like it's hard. That doesn't mean you should stay with somebody if they're abusive or whatever. Just because, you know, like that's where the idea of like a lot of people getting stuck in relationships is because they feel like they have to, you know, stick it out or a quitter if not. It's okay to quit. I don't know. It's just this idea of like, just relax and stop worrying about if he's the one every single time you talk to him and just get to know him organically. I have a problem with friendships sometimes because they're like, what are you getting on me? What are you getting on me? Are you getting something? Are you getting something? And I'm like, just fucking relax. I'm like, I'm a normal human being too. um, I don't know. It's just the feeling of like, they're not going to give me. Good. I think you meant comforting, but it could be confronting. Oh, where's Perry? Okay. That's fine if you have that. You don't have to apologize. It could be confronting too. um, so it's just like, just relax and don't put the pressure on it, because also then when you put that expectation of like, oh, he could be the one, he could be the one, da, 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 it's like you stop yourself from really like seeing the red flags. You also like lend towards a lot more disappointment if he's not the one. And then you start to go, what's wrong with me? What am I doing wrong? And you're not doing anything wrong, like at all. other than just recognizing that you are valuable and you are worthy and you don't need anybody outside of yourself to complete you. You know? I mean, they're kind of just saying the same thing I did, where it's like, just you're enough. You know, you are enough. And some of this, a lot of this is just reminding yourself that you're enough and recognizing that. Okay, here's what they said. So, when you think about marriage and you think about being in a relationship and being in love, what do you feel like that does for you? How is that? So, like, I'm saying it this way because when we think about manifesting, we think about money, right? It's like, well, I want to make this much money. I want to be able to go and, like, say you're like, I want to be a millionaire, whatever, billionaire, whatever you choose. Billionaire is like slightly ridiculous, but you know. Um, and then you think about what does that mean? It's like, well, for some people, I mean, it's like it's success. What does success mean? Success means acceptance or finally being enough. Well, so then you have to go into like, okay, why do I feel like I'm not enough? Or money means stability and safety and security. Okay, so but right now, am I safe, secure, and stable? Oh yeah, I am. So it's like it starts to take the pressure off of like, okay, well maybe I don't really need X, Y, and Z. It's like, so what does it mean if I'm in a relationship and married? I'm valuable, I'm worthy, I'm enough, I'm at some standard that I thought, like, well, what does that standard mean? Like, really start to dig in and look at what it means to you to have those things. Like, I have looked back to heal a lot of my own stuff, my own belief systems around relationships, around success, around money, around all of that, and looked at, well, where is that coming from? What's the core underlying scarcity or lack or whatever that is, and heal that, and then the rest of that comes easier. So my thing, like, around success oftentimes has to do with like somehow I'm taking away from somebody else or stepping on somebody else's toes or offending somebody else because, like, when I wanted to do certain things, I'd have people, family members in my ear saying like, you can't do that because da, 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 like telling me all of these reasons why. Um, or being successful was somehow taking away from them. Um, I mean, there's all kinds of weird things around it. So you sort of like, the idea is like, look at what do you feel like around, like, what if you never got married, right? So what would that say about you as a person? That's the core belief system you have to heal. That's the stuff you should be working on. And then just enjoying the time when you're around him, talking to him, get to know him, have fun with it, relax about it. Like, maybe it turns into something more. But if you're constantly like got that underlying layer of like, oh my God, he's the one. Somebody may not know exactly what that is, but it's like this pressure of like, I don't know, like, I don't know what it is. She's really nice, but like there's just something that's like there and I can't quite figure that out. Um, so it's sort of this idea of like looking at the deeper stuff. And I definitely think that that's important to know. I don't know. I think that's because I'm like, where am I? And I felt like I spaced out and I'm not like getting anything else. I was like, okay, I was supposed to go with that. Okay. All right. Okay. So you and work out with this, it's an obsession. So it's like when you become so obsessed with something and it's this, there's an undercurrent of it's never going to happen, it keeps it away from you. Um, yes, I keep messing with my hair. um, I think so. I've gotten to this point where it's just a subtle knowing of like these things are going to be coming to me in my life. These people are going to be coming into my life. These things are going to be coming into my life. I don't have to worry about and try and force it to happen. I'm just like sort of like it's going to happen when it happens. And in the meantime, I'm doing the things to like propel myself forward, but not with a like a I'm going to control it kind of thing, but just like, okay, I need to be more active on social media. I need to build my business. I need to provide more opportunities for people to come in as clients and, share my knowledge or whatever, to cultivate other connections that I have, kind of stuff like that. Okay. I think Deborah, did you purchase another one? And then Perry, I will answer your question. It is draining. And also, she said, I just noticed the stress I put about myself is draining. It is. It's exhausting. And I have to tell you, and I know I'm not the only one. So I'll say we often will spend so much time degrading ourselves about our looks or our weight or our value and our worth based on, do these people like me or how do they feel about me? And why? Like, who is that one person? There's on TikTok, sometimes it'll show through lives and there'll be like a random person who's like, I'll rate you on your handle, like your name, or I'll rate you on your, like how pretty you are based on your picture or something like that. And like your profile picture. And I'm like, who the fuck is this character? Like, who are you to say that someone's really beautiful? Like, that's all subjective anyway. Like, right? It's not something that's like, this is the standard of beauty and I hold it. And I feel like it sets people up who are insecure to just fucking feel terrible about themselves. So, but we do this on all kinds of levels throughout our lives. So like maybe you can see the obvious imbalance that's happening there, right? And the obvious give of your power, to somebody else. But we do this with friendships. We do this and working relationships where you're like, what do they think of me? Am I enough? It's like, fuck it. Who cares what that clown thinks? Like, I'm doing a good job. So I sort of would rub people the wrong way as a nurse because I do worry about, obviously I want to be a good performance or whatever like that. But here's an example. I was working on one unit. I was floating and I went in as a charge nurse and the CNAs switched. So the RNs worked 12-hour shifts. The aides worked 8-hour shifts. So they were in the middle of their shift change. And somebody was working a double, came from another floor, and I gave them the assignment that the person who was out normally had, because on this particular floor, the aides always had the same residents that they worked with. And she was like, I'm working a double, and I can't believe that you're putting me with this assignment. I was like, okay. Anybody want to switch with her since she's working to come in and help us out? And somebody switched, and then like, I don't know how many days later, the manager was like, she called the union about you. And I was like, and like, I didn't do anything wrong. So it feels like as long as you're working within your parameters and doing what you're supposed to be doing and not trying to be sneaky or sly, like stop worrying about what people think of you. Like, it's exhausting. You're never going to make somebody else completely happy if they're a miserable human being. Yeah, you don't let yourself be and you question why you want things and why we do the things we do. Yeah, like, but it's okay to question why do you want something, because then you can look at like, what's this obsession with this? Why do I have to have this? What does it say about me if I don't have this? The other thing that you can look at too is going like, just saying this in your head. It's okay to be married. It's okay not to be married. It's okay to be divorced. It's okay not to be divorced. It's okay to be a mom. It's okay not to be a mom. It's okay to be in love. It's okay not to be in love. It's okay to be loved. It's okay not to be loved. Because the truth is you love yourself, right? And that's something that can be truly unconditional. Like I love myself no matter what. And I don't have to hold shame in my heart about who I am. And I don't have to, you can do those things. If you come in one more time, go. I'm not done yet. I'll go. This is not okay. Is Daddy home?
No.
Okay, go find your sisters. I'll be upstairs soon.
Mm-hmm.
It's not acceptable.
It's just it's taken from.
Please and thank you. I love you. Please close the door. I had to give her this is not acceptable talk. Okay, you got my point. I'm done lecturing. I'll get off my little. Okay. Oh, Perry, you didn't have to pay. Okay. I was giving you a free one. Okay, so all right, Perry. So I'm glad you feel better. Okay. You're moving. Okay, so will you fall in love? Will you meet love? Are you going over there also as doing caregiver work? Because it's this feeling of like I'm going over there and I'm doing some kind of caregiving over there as well. Are you here, Perry? Okay. Well, thank you. Are you going over to do caregiver work over there as well? I'm playing with a squishy ball my kids have. If you're wondering if you can hear that noise, just so I think it was important that you heard what I talked about to Allie because there is a feeling around like the desire for love, but I almost feel like not opening yourself up very well. I keep seeing some kind of like I don't know what this means. So I'm going to say this like, so I keep seeing like helping somebody out. So some kind of assistant or aid or something. I am a service to others kind of guy. Okay. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe you're just end up helping out people. Okay. So I feel like it's a little bit of time before you meet someone. Because it's so when I was talking to Allie about like really looking at your value and your worth and like whether you're worthy of love and will somebody love you, it's like working on that from that aspect to open it up. Cause I feel like even though it's something you really, really want, yes, a little bit of a block there, but not like it's just more around the belief system, right? Of like, so shifting that belief system and then like really reworking your neural pathways to be like, oh, I am lovable. I am worthy. I am more than just having to be of service to others. I am valuable. I'm lovable, I am loved, I love myself, all of that kind of stuff. And then it feels like, I would say in like 6 to 9 months is when you open up and start opening up to a chance to connect with others. And it feels like you'll meet somebody, but not through, again, not through a dating online type service, but more so through maybe of being of service to others and connections that way. And I feel like there's a bit of an age gap with you and her. So she might be in her early 50s and also never have been married. Oh, that was you. Yes, you can. You can ask your question quickly though, because my daughter has come in a million times and she is like not having it with me today. Does that resonate, Perry, when I say that to you? It just feels like working on that a little bit and then you'll settle in. So maybe you're doing odd jobs when you're over there, or maybe you're just helping do maintenance work on people's houses, but it feels like a caregiver aspect to it. Maybe you bring people food, like Meals on Wheels or something. I don't know. And then meeting somebody that way. But I feel like it feels like a little bit before you meet her. And I will say this. It's not that I don't think she's been in a relationship. I think she's just never been married before. Okay. All right. Fort Bronx, go ahead and give me your question. You told me some time ago I'd meet someone and I put it on my calendar. This is, oh my God. Oh, okay. Good, Perry. Okay. I hope that was helpful. So it's interesting. I'm leaning towards yes, but there's some other caveat to it. So I don't understand what that means. So it's like, yeah, and there's something else about it though, where it's not like a straight yeah. This is crazy here. I was thinking about asking you and I saw a free question. Interesting. Well, the universe works in mysterious ways. I just started a thing. I don't know if you knew this, but I started a thing that's where instead of doing the free half-hour reading once a month to somebody, I just offer, I figured I'm always here doing these questions. It's just as easy for me to offer somebody randomly a free question that they can come on here and ask her. Scared to even ask. I can feel it's not a straight yeah. Yeah, it's not. And I don't understand it. So it's yeah, but there's some caveat to it and I don't understand it. It's like something around him is the way I can feel. But I don't know that it's another person. So I don't understand it. I'm taking my daughters to a class where he works. I'll be going there weekly. Okay. Just start talking to him. Just like you missed this Allie lecture, but sorry, Allie. Keep me up to date. So he or she, we were talking about basically like, even if you think that person may be the person, just don't put the pressure on like, is this the guy? Is this the guy? Just get to know them and have fun with it and just enjoy that moment and enjoy that process and enjoy the journey. Okay. All right. I really have to go because my child needs me. Have a good night. I will see you guys. Just keep an eye out for the emails. If you're not subscribed to my emails, go on and subscribe to them. Number one, you could get a free question here. And number two, um, I'll try and do them earlier to let you know when I'm going to do it because I'm going to be in a different time zone. So, and I'm potentially going to be meeting out with my friend for lunch. So, but I can do them. It might be on Saturday instead, or just a little bit. I don't know. We'll see. So pay attention. Look at my emails. Have a good one.